Alright, in this video I'm going to go through how we sanded the glass surface in order to have one of the conditions that you wanted to have for the spring of 2021. We wanted to sand the surface and to see that effect on the performance and the composition. So again, what we're going to need for this demo, or for this activity, is a piece of sandpaper, obviously. And just like we did for the edges of the glass to get rid of sharp edges, we're going to use the 400 grit to sand the surface of the glass rods. And so we've got that. We've got plenty of those standing by too. We've got our pre-cut glass rods. And then I wanted to kind of show you the comparison of one we've already done to this. And so our goal here is to take this glass rod as is and then sand it so that we kind of get this as uniform as possible. And so I'll sort of show you how we're going to do that. Alright, so let's now look at the procedure we used for sanding the glass. So again, this is my as prepared where I cut the glass rod, and then I've got my pre-made one over here. So nothing special here. We're doing this by hand. We don't have any sort of special apparatus for this. So basically, if we want to get a nice uniform sand along this, what we can do is we can basically wrap the sandpaper in kind of one half of the rod, and then we can basically either twist the sandpaper or twist the glass rod itself. And so immediately, even though it's going to be hard in this video, you start to see the scratch marks on the glass. And again, with the glare here, you can't really see it, but it's there. And so we just kind of have to keep doing that, and we're rotating so that we get an even sand on all parts of the exterior of the glass, and we can kind of move it in and out to try to get as much of the glass. And then obviously we're going to need to rotate to the other side to get that as well, and try to move and get all parts of the glass. And another thing we're going to have to often do is you can see that parts of the sandpaper are going to get covered with glass or worn down themselves, and so we kind of have to move to new portions of the sandpaper to make sure we get a nice effective sanding on the exterior. And so I'm going to continue to do this until I get a nice level of consistent sanding on all parts of this glass rod. And again, making sure I rotate so I get both sides, the one I'm holding and the one I'm not, and then rotating to different parts of the sandpaper so that I get all of that as well. Again, we're doing this by hand, so we're going to have to get as even as possible. And so I don't know if you can tell, I'll hold up another glass rod just so you can kind of see that. So this is our sanded, and this is the unsanded. So you can see that we're getting a kind of more opaqueness, which is what we're after. This means that there's scratches and the light is being bounced around in those scratches, and so it's coming off as white or opaque. Alright, so I'm going to keep the video rolling and just continue to sand this so that you get an idea of how long I'm spending on each one of these, so that you can kind of put that in your lab notebook so that you know you can use an approximate measure of the grit and the time to get kind of a uniform sanding on each one of these glass rods. Alright, that looks pretty consistent to me. We have a similar kind of appearance to the other two. Again, it's with the lighting in here, it's kind of hard to see that, but we're getting a pretty similar appearance to that. And so once I have that similar even uniform sanding, I'll sort of move on to the next one, and that's how we're going to treat the sanded glass rods for this experiment.